Olympic champion.
So how long does that fight last?
Listen, my opinion, it's 1 round.
There's been some talk about possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
You make of that?
Anthony, by murder.
By murder?
Yes.
Golly.
Might knock his head off a little bit. Like, it might be special effect, but it might, like, go out.
Like legit?
Yeah.
Boxing legends are sharing who they think will win the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight. Usyk says that this fight will end in the first round. He has fought Joshua 2 times and knows how strong Joshua is. Usyk thinks this fight is mostly about making money, and that it is not very important for the sport of boxing. He feels Joshua only needs one clear moment to show everyone the huge difference in power. For Usyk, this is not a real competition. It will be a fast end. He believes Jake is stepping into a fight that is way too big for his low experience.
Complaining about AJ taking that fight. Obviously, it's a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
Do you see something wrong with AJ taking that fight?
This is just a lot of money. It's just a show.
Right.
This is not interesting sport because, guys, brothers, Anthony, it's Olympic champion.
Right.
Jake, it's just sportsman. Yeah, YouTuber. Jake do a lot of work. Special coach, special food, a lot of exercise, new.
Yes.
But this is guy don't have a mother fights.
Right.
Never
Right.
a mother fights. Maybe them wrestling, now professional, but Joshua, Anthony Joshua, it's Olympic champion.
So how long does that fight last?
Listen, my opinion, it's 1 round. Because Anthony, twice, my fight twice. Jab,
Very hard.
yeah, look, you know? This is,
And still from this fight.
this jab.
Tyson Fury has a very different idea, giving one of the boldest predictions in this talk. Fury says that Jake Paul will knock out Anthony Joshua. This statement shocks many people because most experts do not agree with it. Fury argues that Jake is physically growing bigger, training with heavier weights, and turning himself into a much stronger fighter. He thinks Jake's improvement is great, and believes that energy sometimes matters more than experience. Fury always enjoys saying things that people do not expect, but in this case, he insists that Jake's confidence and current rise could lead to a result that almost no one sees coming. He sees Jake not as a simple internet star, but as a fighter who is trained very seriously. Fury's prediction is controversial, but it makes the discussion more interesting because it comes from a boxer who understands heavyweight fighting better than almost anyone else in the world.
Some talk about possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight look.
Teddy Atlas looks at this fight based on strategy and not just excitement or fan opinions. He agrees that Joshua is very strong, but he also points out that Jake Paul is not coming into this fight with nothing. Atlas notes that Jake has youth, and younger athletes usually heal faster, move with more confidence, and will take chances that older boxers might not. He also highlights that Jake's footwork has gotten much better, which helps him move in ways that could make Joshua feel uncomfortable if he does not take that movement seriously. According to Atlas, every fight has 2 sides. Joshua has his size, technical boxing history, and champion experience. But Jake has some tools that cannot be ignored. Atlas also looks at how Jake's mind might help him. Jake is still new in his career, so he fights with hunger and has not been hurt mentally the way many boxers who have fought for a long time are. Atlas knows that Joshua usually fights best when he keeps his distance. But Jake's faster feet and willingness to jump into hitting each other could create small chances to score. Those chances might not be big, but they are there. Atlas believes that this possibility alone means Jake must be taken seriously. His main point is not that Jake will win, but that Jake has enough good things on his side that people must not ignore.
While we look at all the advantages that Joshua has, let's look at how I look at where maybe Paul has some advantages. He's younger. His feet are a little faster. I know he's not at that level of a fighter. I get it. But his feet are faster. Joshua's feet are not that fast, closing gaps, getting to somebody. To hit him, even if you're better than him, you still got to get to him to hit him. Also, Joshua, last time he fought was over a year. He hasn't fought. He was basically retired. Where's his mind at? He got knocked out terribly by Dubois. Where's his confidence? Where's his mindset? Where is he? Is he taking this fight the way that fans are, overlooking Paul, taking him for granted? Yeah, probably is. Might be. Does that weigh in? Yeah, that weighs in. People don't look at those parts of it. And the weight. Paul's smart. He always puts clauses in there. I know this is the first time he's fighting a guy who's bigger than him and all that stuff, but he put in a 245-pound weight, clause where he can't come in over 245. What is Joshua weighing? He was off over a year. He was basically retired. Was he 280? Was he 290? Was he 275? Easily could be the case. He didn't have a lot of time now to get to 245. How does that affect him? Oh, we forgot about that. It's a little thing, but it's not that little. It's a thing that Paul put there for a reason. Again, Paul hasn't made too many mistakes. He's been pretty damn smart. I'm not saying he's the fighter that Joshua is, but I don't know if Joshua's the fighter that Joshua.
Lamont Roach speaks with respect for boxing, but shows true worry about what might happen if Anthony Joshua fights Jake Paul seriously. He does not think this is a fair contest because Joshua's natural strength and champion experience create a level of danger that Jake has never faced. Roach points out that Joshua does not even need to hit Paul hard many times for the result to be bad. A single, strong punch from Joshua could change everything in one moment, especially because of the big difference in their size and fighting background. He stresses that the heavyweight power Joshua has is not something an internet star-turned-boxer can safely take, and the difference in their bodies could put Jake in real, serious trouble.
Excuse me. My first thoughts was this guy's crazy. Not gonna lie. But I get it. Coming from a guy who's not a true traditional boxer, and to be able to have a position where he can fight a former unified world champion, former Olympic gold medalist, and to do it on such a stage where Anthony Joshua is a superstar as well. I mean, like, he sold out the O2, twice.
Absolutely.
I think. So, I think Jake is setting himself up for, a huge spectacle, and which is, kind of smart. If you're going to go big, why not go to the highest of the mountain? Why not? And I get it. That's what you call business right there. And I've seen a lot of guys calling them out, from like Gabe to other guys who are boxers. Yeah, like guys who actually beat him. But why would he settle for those guys when he could fight Anthony Joshua? So I think that's smart. I think that's super smart.
Smart is one thing. What do you think happens in the ring, though, champ?
I think he gets hurt, for sure. I think he gets obliterated. Something close to like Francis Ngannou. I think something like that happens, and it's going to be bad for him. But there will be a lot of.
Andrew Tate keeps his message simple and direct as he reacts to the fight. He states that Jake has stepped into a very big moment and deserves respect for doing that. Tate understands the high level of risk Jake is taking. He agrees that most people would never get into a ring with someone as powerful and experienced as Joshua. For Tate, the winner is not the most important thing. What matters is that Jake is challenging himself against the best and showing a strong desire to succeed. Very few fighters, even famous ones, would dare to do this. Tate's reaction focuses on Jake's courage more than who will win. He believes Jake's choice alone earns him praise.
Just a couple more things before I let you go. Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, your thoughts on this fight? And Mega won.
Yeah, huge respect to Jake. I mean, we all know what should happen on paper, but it's boxing. So huge respect to Jake. I have nothing but...
Sean Ali, a professional mixed martial arts fighter and a bantamweight in the UFC, spoke about his friend Jake Paul. Before the main fight on December 19 in South Florida, Ali said he was truly worried for Jake. Speaking on the Bro Ali show, he admitted that fighting Anthony Joshua is terrifying. Ali stressed that getting knocked out by a fighter as good as Joshua can change your life forever, not just hurt your career. He called Jake's decision to get into the ring against such a powerful heavyweight absolutely crazy. Ali wanted to emphasize the real danger and risk in this fight.
O'Malley is scared for Jake Paul. All right, great. You know what? Thank you, Sean. And now that's now my phrase. I'm going to steal that from you from this moment. I'm going to use it going forward because I didn't know how to describe my feeling about this fight, but I just got it. I'm glad I thought of it right after I read Sean O'Malley said it. Sean went on to say, there's certain punches, there's certain knockouts, there's certain concussions, there's certain ass whippings, there's certain beatings that are not equal to others. They're the kind of knockouts, of punches, of concussions, of ass whippings, and of beatings that change your life. They change lives. And O'Malley didn't elaborate on what that meant. But I know what he meant. I know what he meant. There is a confidence that a person has. From the guy that walks down the street, the most confident, he walks in the room and he's the man and he gets to live his life feeling that way and people will treat him that way. All the way down to the coward who walks his life like he's weak, who handles everything sheepishly. The one thing those two guys have in common is that neither of them actually knows where they stand. Neither of them has actually tested that theory. They got all the rest of society to go along with it. Therefore, they don't have to test it.
Chael Sonnen gives a more clear explanation of why he thinks the fight is strongly in Joshua's favor. He lists Joshua's advantages as size, power, height, weight, reach, and many years of professional experience. Sonnen states that Jake has gotten much better, but you cannot compare the people Jake has fought so far to the level of boxers Joshua has faced in his career. He stresses that everything about this fight, from how strong they are to how ready they are mentally, favors Joshua. Sonnen's analysis completely removes feelings and focuses only on the simple facts, showing the huge difference between the two fighters.
The Francis Ngannou performance. What if Jake makes it 5 rounds, 6 rounds? What if Jake made it to the distance? What if Jake won a round? Now, it's very hard to believe. It's very hard to imagine. I think it's the big struggle with this fight. I cannot, off the top of my head, produce a fight for you in any form of unarmed combat that drew, that was exciting, where the audience did not have a reasonable expectation, an expectation to some degree that, well, if he does this or that, there is a way for this guy to win. And that's usually pretty easy to do because nobody knows anything about fighting. Nobody watching this right now, none of you, my millions of viewers, not one of you has ever boxed. Not one of you knows someone in the family. Well, my dad was a boxer, my uncle was a boxer. No, you don't. Not only are you not a boxer, you don't even know of a boxer. Now, I only share that because when I come out and say nobody knows what they're talking about when they're talking about boxing, like, it's not meant to be an insult. You don't know anything about boxing. It was never taught to you. None of you in recess boxed. None of your junior highs, your high schools, your colleges, your community colleges offered boxing. Your hometown didn't have a boxing gym. Now really think about that. Because as much as you love the sport and as much as you think that you understand it, not only do you not understand it, you can't even have a conversation with other people who do because they don't understand it. So what is a win? I think that time counts. I think that time is a very big deal. You're in that little bitty ring, and I know a guy can run backwards, but running backwards is not illegal in boxing. It is.
Chris Algieri uses a careful approach based on his knowledge of how Joshua usually fights. He explains that Joshua always fights based on how dangerous his opponent is. When the person he is fighting is dangerous, Joshua fights calmly and smartly. When the opponent has less experience or is smaller, Joshua gives the powerful performance that fans expect to see. Algieri believes that this behavior strongly applies to the Jake Paul fight. In his opinion, Joshua is unlikely to take risks he does not need to. But when Joshua decides to attack, he usually finishes the fight with power and accuracy. Algieri stresses that fans should not be confused. Joshua has always fought well against people who are not as good as him, and he expects that to happen again. Algieri adds that this consistency makes Joshua predictable in a very good way.
His reputation as an elite heavyweight. Do you understand the analogy I'm getting to, Chris?
Yeah, and I agree. And but listen, Joshua's done this already. He fought a guy that he was supposed to destroy, right? And then he went out there and he destroyed him. And he didn't play with his food. Yep. He didn't say, okay, it was Ngannou I'm talking about, obviously. Of course. Who gave Tyson Fury fits and really had everyone questioning Tyson Fury's ability because he struggled with an MMA fighter in his pro boxing debut. Anthony Joshua didn't do that. He went out there and did what we all expected Tyson Fury to do and completely wiped the floor with the guy. And if Joshua doesn't do that this fight, I agree with you, Jimmy. It's going to hurt his stock. It's going to hurt the way that people perceive him moving forward. And also, I think, honestly, and if he doesn't go out there and just lay into Jake Paul and end it in the first, if not second round, to me, it's gonna look fishy to me. It's gonna look like this was a setup. This was an exhibition. This wasn't a real fight. If this is a real fight, it should be over in 90 seconds because Anthony Joshua is a legit gold medalist, super heavyweight, crazy athlete, awesome power, and Jake Paul just isn't on that level in any way. And he's not he's undersized. You know, Jake Paul was fighting a cruiserweight in his last fight. He was under 200 pounds. You know, Joshua is a legit 250 pounds with abs, and the guy punches with the right hand like a cannon.
The one advantage Jake Paul has had in previous fights, and we all know people who have worked with him, and they go, he's got natural power. He can hit pretty well for his size. Not elite, right? Not world champion, but he can hit pretty well for his size. Paulie, that one advantage that he's had in previous fights is complete.
Dave Allen looks at this situation from a realistic, simple viewpoint. Instead of focusing on excitement or feelings, he looks directly at Jake Paul's past fights. Allen explains that Jake has often faced fighters who did not attack him with real heavyweight power or many punches. This allowed Jake to fight calmly, keep his distance, and manage the hitting without getting scared. Allen warns that Joshua will not let Jake have that same calm environment. If Joshua attacks with even half the strength he uses against real heavyweight rivals, the fight could look completely different from anything Jake has ever been through.
But he couldn't beat Tommy. Could he win the area lightweight title? I'm not sure. Don't know who the champion is. If I had a look, I could tell you, but I'm not sure. He then boxes Nate Diaz. So he's boxed one boxer so far, if we keep in count, and he's beat none. Then he boxes Andre August, who I believe was a pro, and this is now at 14-3, so he's now actually a cruiserweight. Andre August, I'm not sure. Ryan Borland, 17-2. Again, I'm not sure. But fair play, he's beat two boxers here. Beat two boxers, what can I say? He then fights Mike Perry, who is an MMA fighter, bare knuckle boxer, he's not a glove boxer. He then fights Mike Tyson, which was an exhibition, weren't it really, for all intents and purposes.
Barry McGuigan gives one of the strongest reactions in the entire discussion. He believes the fight has a level of danger that many fans, especially younger ones, do not truly understand. Since he has been around powerful punchers for decades, McGuigan knows how fast a fight can change when a real heavyweight lands a clean punch. He stresses that just thinking about Jake Paul standing across from Joshua should make any experienced boxing watcher worried. McGuigan's comments are not meant to insult Jake, but to show the simple physics involved in the sport. For him, this matchup shows a risk that is bigger than just a show. It reminds everyone that boxing is still a brutally unforgiving sport when two fighters with completely different levels of power are in the ring together.
Some people are saying, AJ's grabbing the bag. There's nothing wrong with that because anybody else, if they got offered that kind of money, they would do it. So and some people are suggesting he might damage his legacy. Where do you sit with the decision of him taking that fight? And it's a professional 8-round fight as well.
Yes, it's a highly dangerous fight for Jake Paul. I don't know what he's doing, unless they have done some sort of caveat or some sort of agreement that he says he's going to go easy on him, or he's not going to go flat out. But you know, I've been tossing this up and down in my mind and trying to figure how, and under God, when he had agreed to fight someone like Tank Davis, who is, you know, several divisions below him, that's more like...
That is all for today's video. Stay ready. We will talk again next time.